Okay. Good evening, everyone. Okay. Hello, everyone. Myself, Professor Sanjay Jaiswal from AG School of Data Science, and I welcome you all on behalf of AGS on a 5-session PHP course that will be focusing on full stack development. Basically, in this session, we will be introducing about. I will just introduce you about full stack development. What do you exactly mean by full stack development? What is front end? What is back end? A very brief in a very brief session, and then we will be more focusing on our backend technology and front end technology in this particular session, like your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And also, I will also introduce you about the backend programming language, that is your PHP. So before we begin with our session, let me show you a small presentation that will give you a basic understanding of what is full stack development. Since we have very limited time, that is, we have to cover everything in 1 hour of our session. So without wasting much time, we will quickly see what is exactly the full stack development. So here I share you a slide to understand what do you mean by full stack development and how you can choose your career in a full stack development. So what is technology stack? First of all, when we talk about the full stack development, the word technology stack is very important, and in that the word stack is what we have to understand. Now when we say technology stack, it is collection of relevant skill sets and tools to work on project development. So technology stack is a collection of relevant skill sets and also the knowledge of tool to work on any project development. So as a software developer, you are going to develop a lot of softwares, and you're going to create web applications, mobile applications. And that means you are going to work completely on a project wherein you have some part in a front end and you have some part in the back end, and also working on the database. And to work on a project, you have to learn some skill and some tools. So the collection of the knowledge of all those skills and tool set is called as your technology stack. Now, depending on what type of technology you're choosing, that categorizes your full stack development. So basically, if you want to develop any website or any application that has backend, which has a technology that uses languages like PHP, then we can call it as a PHP development or full stack PHP development. If you're working on Java, it is full stack Java development or any other technology. And in this particular session, we are going to see about the PHP. Now, what is full stack development? What do you exactly mean by full stack development? Now, let's take an example of a website or a web application. Now you know that in day-to-day life we use a lot of different types of websites, like your social networking website, your online ticket booking platforms like Indian Railway website, or if you want to book any ticket for the aeroplane flight, that is a website. If you want to buy something, then you have e-commerce website. If you want to watch any audio video, we have OTS platform, that is audio video streaming platforms. If you want to conduct any kind of audio video conferencing meeting, then we have Gmeet and Google Meet kind of applications. If you are on the social media network, then you have your Facebook, Instagram, and those kind of web applications. And also there are a lot of applications that you use in your organization and companies, like your ERP system, your learning management system, your billing, completely ERP systems and GIS system, MIS system, all those different types of applications that can be created with the help of your web applications. So it has a web UI. Okay, so applications which runs on your web browsers are called your web applications. And apart from that, you also have another kind of application that are not accessed using your web browsers, but directly access to your mobiles, like your mobile applications, or on your desktop, like computer or laptop, you have desktop applications. So basically, we are talking about the application, and more precisely, we are talking about web application, because here we are going to learn about the web application, and the backend would be your PHP. So first, we need to understand what is a front end, what is a website and web application. When we design any application or when we work on any website, we have two parts. First is your front end, and second is your back end. Now, what is a front end? So what is a front end? What we see in the front is called as your front end, also known as your GUI, a graphical user interface. So whenever you open any website or any web application, then what you see in front of you is called as your web application, or it is called as your front end, or it is also called as GUI. GUI means it is the interface, a graphical user interface using which a user is going to communicate with the backend server or backend. Okay, so your user interface is created, and that is called as your front end. And to design the front end, especially in web applications, you make use of core technologies like your CSS, HTML, and JavaScript. It is also known as your front-end web technology, in which HTML and CSS are the most important tools to create the front end. JavaScript is optional. You might use JavaScript or you might not use JavaScript. It depends on the type of web application you want to create. If you want to create a very static application without any interaction, you can simply make use of your HTML and CSS and create your application. But if you want to make your web application, web front end design or UI more interesting or more interactive, you can make use of your JavaScript. So basically, when we talk about the front end, we talk about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And also, we are also going to see what are the frameworks that are available for HTML and CSS. That is to make our task more easy to develop good website, responsive website. We can make use of our HTML frameworks, HTML and CSS framework. For example, you can make use of your Bootstrap. And in next session, we're also going to understand about the Bootstrap and how to use that Bootstrap template in our PHP application. Okay. Now, there are some examples, as you can see on the screen. You have some user interfaces like your web application, your mobile application, and your desktop application. And every application will have the user interface. Okay. And we are talking about your web application. So what is HTML, CSS, JavaScript? It is your front-end technology, wherein HTML is used to create the structures. Okay, so it is a core structure that will be created with the help of HTML. But only using HTML for designing the front end will not give a proper good look. To make the website more exciting and more appealing, you make use of CSS. So CSS is providing styles to that structure. So you can make use of CSS, that is cascading style sheet, and you give style to that structure. And now your website looks attractive. But as I told you, JavaScript can be used to define behavior of that website. That is, you can give some effect to that website, like scrolling, smooth scrolling, navigation, smooth navigation, smooth transition, some kind of loaders. All these effects can be given with the help of your JavaScript. Some pop-up message, auto dismissible message, everything can be given with the help of your JavaScript. So it becomes more interactive. So altogether, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript can be used to create your front end, and that's what we are going to focus today. In this particular session, we are going to create a simple HTML file, use some of the CSS property, and also you can use some JavaScript also. But mostly we will be focusing on HTML and CSS. For JavaScript, we have a separate session dedicated only for your JavaScript. So now let's try to understand what is the backend. Now, when we talk about the backend in a dynamic website, when we say website or web application, a website may be static or it may be dynamic. A static website is a website which does not change with time. That is, the content of that website will be static. That will not change. It will be constant. Whenever you visit that website, nothing is changed. Everything is as it is. So such kind of website are called as a static website. But when we talk about a dynamic website is a website which contents keep on changing. So whatever information you see on the website will keep on updating from time to time. And how does the update takes place? So for that, backend technology is used. So whatever data that you want to update in the front end, has to come from either the backend or from the third party source. Okay, so in the backend, you should have a database. All the data is updated in the database, and the same data is then fetched from the backend database, and it is binded in your front end and reflected to user. So all this thing is done with the help of a programming language. So in the backend, we need some programming language, that is your server side scripting languages that will interact with your database server and fetch the information from database server, and it will bind with the front end and it will show you from in time to time. But it is not always that the data will come from backend database only. The data can be provided from the third party services, and to integrate that third party services, again programming language is used to create APIs, and this API will fetch the information from the third party, and that can also shown in your front end. So basically, when we talk about the backend, we talk about the programming language, and we also talk about your database. So altogether, we have two things in your web development, that is full stack development. One is your backend development and one is your front end development. So in this particular session, we are going to focus on our HTML, CSS, and also some backend programming language like PHP scripting. So this was about your full stack this was about your full stack development. That is how you can create the front end and how can you manage your backend. So at the end of this session, that is when we are doing this session, that is all the 5 sessions that we will cover. You will be having a knowledge how to create a full-fledged working website, that is front end and back end. And also you can also create a simple basic website with your bootstrap. So let's begin with our introduction to HTML and CSS, that is your front end. For that, first of all, what we have to what are the requirements that is expected from you, that is the softwares that we are going to use for our front end development. That is when we are working with your HTML or CSS or JavaScript, what we need. So basically, when we are working with our HTML, CSS, we can work even on the simple notepad. What is notepad? Everyone has a notepad, simple notepad in your computer. You can make use of your notepad, as you can see here. This particular notepad, you can make use of your notepad and start writing your HTML code. But the disadvantage with your notepad is that it will not provide help for development, that is tooltip for development. And formatting of the sentence or formatting of the code is not easy on notepad. And therefore, I recommend you to download an editor. Now, what is the editor that you are going to use? So you can simply go and Google for a simple editor like your Sublime text editor. So here you can simply type your Sublime text, and you will have this option, download Sublime text editor. When you click this, you will simply have different versions of Sublime text editor. You can simply download it and you can simply install in your computer. And the installation step is very easy, and the software is very lightweight software. So this is a Sublime text editor that you can use to create your HTML pages and also manage your HTML pages, that is code, properly and format your syntax. So I will say that just download the Sublime text editor and install your machine, and you should have your Sublime text editor ready to use. So I will just close this now. And now let's minimize this slide and let's do one thing. Let's open our Sublime text editor. So here on the desktop, I have created one simple folder called as your PHP underscore full FSD. So this is a folder in which every code I am going to save. Now in this particular folder, I have kept only one image, that is fav icon, which I am going to use. And there is one simple sample text which we have. So you don't have to bother about it for right now. We have a very simple folder called as your PHP FSD underscore FSD. Now, one more software that you require to work with your PHP, that is very important. Now you have an editor with you, so you can simply download and install your editor, text editor, that is Sublime, and you can simply search for Sublime. And when you click the Sublime text editor, the UI of your Sublime text editor would look like this. Now here you have different options. For example, if I want to open this particular folder, PHP_FSD, you can simply open that folder in your Sublime text editor. So here I will simply open my folder that is on my desktop. Okay, and select this folder, and now you have your folder open in your Sublime text editor. Now you can create all the requirement files, that is HTML file, in this particular Sublime text editor. So here, first of all, what we are going to do, we are going to create simple HTML page and see how your HTML page looks like, and how you set your title and your fav icons in your HTML page. Okay, so before that, let's try to understand one more important software, that is your XAMPP software. Now XAMPP software is very much important because that will be used to run your PHP, that is server side script. Because as you know, HTML and CSS are your client, that is are your static are your front end technology, and that can be run without any server also, that is on your client machine also. But when we are talking about your PHP is a server-side scripting language, and to run the server-side scripting language, we need a server, either a development server or a live server. So here, the development server, that will use Apache. So that can be that comes with your XAMPP. So what is a XAMPP? XAMPP is a basically a software that will have three important things that we require for development. First, we have a server, that is Apache server. Okay, then we have a database, that is MySQL database, and we also have our FileZilla, but we don't require this for file transfer and all those things. But two most important things that we require is a server to run our PHP script, and also MySQL database, because we are also going to work with our database, MySQL database. We are going to create basic tables and all those things. So here we have this XAMPP control panel, and from where you get this XAMPP control panel, for this you have to install one software that is called as your XAMPP. And again, for that you have to Google and simple search for XAMPP. So when you search for XAMPP download here, and depending on your machine, okay, whether it is 64-bit system or 32-bit system, you can simply download your XAMPP server. Now this XAMPP server for Windows I am using, so you can simply see that here we have different links for downloading your XAMPP server. So because my system is a 64-bit system, it is showing me option to download for 64-bit system. So you have to simply download this file. It is 160 MB file roughly, and after downloading it, you will see software. You have to save the software somewhere in your computer drive, and in this you will have this XAMPP software. Now the installation step is very simple. You have to simply double click it and just proceed next, and you have to do nothing in between that. So it will simply ask to proceed next. You have to simply you have to proceed next and finish installation. Once your XAMPP server is installed, you can simply search for your XAMPP server on your machine. You don't even have to restart the machine. You simply have to search for XAMPP, and you will see XAMPP control panel here. As you click the XAMPP control panel, your XAMPP control panel will open here. So from here, you can simply start your server, and you can simply start your MySQL database server. So here you can simply start your Apache server and start your MySQL database server. So both of them are now on, and now you can simply create your PHP application, and you can run on your development server, that is Apache server. So this we are going to again do. So what we are going to do here, we are going to see where we have to create our PHP file, and how we can run our PHP file with the help of your XAMPP server. All these things we are going to do live with the help of some PHP examples. So right now we are focusing on our HTML CSS. When we come to PHP part, we will do that quickly. So for now, what I am doing, I'm going to simply close this control panel. Though my Apache server and database server, that is MySQL server, will be still running even if I simply close this. So here I'm simply going to close my control panel, and now let's go to our Sublime Text Editor once again. So here in our Sublime Text Editor, what we have to do, we have to simply open our project folder, whatever folder which is there, which we have created. We can simply open in our Sublime Text Editor. So for that, we have to simply open our folder, that is on the desktop. We have here php_fsd, and select this folder, and then you can close this previously opened Sublime Text Editor, and you can simply maximize this. So this is your folder now. Now inside this we can create our HTML file. So now the installation, if you have completed with your installation, now you can simply write your first HTML. You can create your first HTML page. Now if you have to create an HTML page, the first thing that you have to do is you have to simply create a new file here, file, new, okay, and then save this file, and let's name this file as your index.html. So I have given the name as index.html. So every HTML file has to be stored with an extension .html. So I will simply save this file. Okay. So here the file, save this file, or you can again create. I will show one more file. You have to go to the folder. You can right click and new file, and then save this file. Save this file as our index.html. Index.html. So now we have one index.html file in our folder, that is phd_fsd. Okay. Now we have to create our HTML. So the basic syntax for HTML, every HTML page will be HTML. Okay. And now see this, with the help of your Sublime Text Editor, you can simply create a simple boilerplate template for HTML page. So a basic HTML page will consist of this doc type declaration, which tells that it is an HTML document. It is not compulsory to mention it, but if you have this, it simply specifies that the page which we are creating is a HTML page. Okay. And then we have something called as your HTML tag. So this is your HTML tag. So entire HTML code, all HTML syntax will be written in the remaining HTML syntax will be written inside this HTML tag. So every HTML tag has an opening tag and closing tag. As you can see here, it is opening here and here, closing here. So inside the HTML tag, we have one important tag called as your head tag. Now, what is a head tag? So head tag is something which HTML page, you will see the title of the page. So title of the page for now, if I set here as pages institute, and I save this file. So when I open this, so let's do that. So to run this HTML page, we have to go to our desktop in our folder phd_fsd, and then we have this index page. So because we have saved with the help of extension .html, so it is showing that this application has to be open in the browser. So by default, the Chrome browser, it is showing Chrome browser, but you can use any other browser also. So right click this index.html page, and then open with our Chrome browser. And you can see this, when we open our page, the title part you can see here, that is this is your header part, and the title you see is your Aegis Institute. So now here we have our Aegis Institute as a title. So to see the title, to set the title, what we can do, we can simply make use of our title tag. You can also set the icon of your page. Now here you can see here there is no icon set as you can see in any other website. So for example, if you see here aegis.edu.in website, and if you see that you can see a small icon that is on the header part, that is on the title part. So here we can also set this icon. So for that we need to we should use a link tag to specify an icon. So we have our link tag. Okay, in this link tag, now what we have in the link tag, the type would be your image x icon. Image x icon, the relation would be icon, the type would be image x icon, and h reference will be fav icon dot icon. So here the relation will be icon, the relation should be icon. So here instead of style sheet I am writing icon. Type will be image x icon, image x icon, and the icon that we want to set. So that is, I have already here fav icon in the same folder. If you can see in the same folder, I have a fav icon. So this fav icon can be used. So here I am simply going to write on fav icon dot icon. So the extension is your icon. So simply save this, and after that you have to simply refresh the page. And when you refresh the page, you will see the icon will be visible. So I will refresh the page and you will see the icon is set. So we have title set and we have our icon set. Now, what we can do, we can simply write, or we can simply put something in our body now because our body is empty. So HTML page, we have header part, and in this HTML, we have one title and we have set our icon also. Now we'll go to our body part. Now in the body, what we can do, we can display some sub information. For example, if I want to display something in a heading, so I will make use of heading tag, that is header tag, and we have h1 tag for that. Now with the help of h1 tag, you can simply specify some heading here. So h1 is a tag that is used to specify something in a header. For example, Aegis School of Data Science. So I have put this heading h1 tag, and then inside this I have given some header. Now here I will refresh the page and you'll see your Aegis School of Data Science is displayed in a bolder font. Now similarly, like your h1, we have h2, h3, h4, h5 and h6, wherein h6 is the smallest one, smallest header. So if I use h6, and you'll see the size of the font varies. Here I will say this is the smallest header. I will save this, and to save this, I will use Control S to save. I will save this and then refresh the page, and you will see h1 is the largest header and h6 is the smallest. So as you use h1, h2, h3, you will get headers of different size. So this was about your h1 tag. Similarly, you can have a center tag to put everything in the center. So here we have our center tag, okay, and then we have our center tag. So if you want to put everything in the center, refresh it. Now everything goes to the center. So this was about your HTML, that is your header tag, and how to put everything in your center tag. So all together, you will see that your HTML page is now slowly showing some effect. Now we have our header part. Now everything what we have to do is in your body tag. Now after your header one tag, you can have some more information like your about your ages. So what I will do, I will make use of a paragraph tag. So paragraph tag is again a tag which is used to write everything in a paragraph format. That is, when we write any paragraph, it is always in the next line. So for that, we can make use of your paragraph tag, and then we have to put everything inside our paragraph. So now here, after the heading, we have our paragraph tag, and to display something in the paragraph, what we are going to do, we are going to simply fetch some information about the ages. So let's say I want to put some information. So I will use the same website and I will just copy some information from here. So here I will simply copy about the edges. Now here I am going to simply copy everything. Let's copy only this much content, copy here and simply paste here. So now you can see, now our paragraph has all the information. You don't bother about the information. You can read this information whenever you have time. But for now, you can simply copy some content and keep inside our paragraph tag. Now, simply I reload the page and you'll see all the information because I have kept all the information inside the paragraph, and also it is in the center. So everything is now aligned center. But what if I don't put everything in the center? For example, if I just put only heading tag in the center, that is, I will simply put header in the center, but paragraph is not center alignment. So everything, I will save this and then reload the page, and you will see everything is now aligned to the left. So this is your paragraph tag. Now, this was the heading and this was about your paragraph tag. Similarly, to display something in table format, you can make use of your table tag also. Now, what is header tag? What is table tag and other different important tags that you have to that can be studied with the help of your any official. There are so many online websites, or even we have our contents where you can refer your HTML tutorials in details. And if you want, we can just simply provide the link for that. But right now, you have to only understand what is an HTML page and what is the header tag and what is your body tag. Now, as we go on doing other part of your HTML, that is other in next sessions, other sessions we are going to study about few more important tags that are required for your development. For right now, what we have our header tag. Now, here, what I will do, I am going to simply make use of a table tag, and in the table tag, what I'm going to do, I'm going to provide some links. Okay, so that we can create more pages, more links to our HTML page. And we are also going to provide some basic CSS also. So what basic CSS I'm going to do, and how the CSS style property can be given. As in the PPT I have shown you, in the front end consists of your HTML development and also HTML and CSS. So how to use the CSS, that we will see now here. So suppose that if I want to use the CSS to paragraph tag. So one way of doing CSS is that I can simply give inline style. So if I want to give the style to the paragraph, I can make use of your style attribute, and I can simply give the style as say width of say 90%, width of 90%. That is the paragraph. Everything in the paragraph will be of 90% in width. Also, I will say that the text align should be justified, means whatever text is there inside your paragraph should be justified. That is, both sides should be having same margin. And also I can say that the padding means whatever content that we are writing in the paragraph tag should have a padding of 5 pixel. And to see that padding option, to see that padding, we have to give a margin or say border. So I will simply give a border, and border of say 1 pixel, and it will be solid border, and I will give a color of say RGB. Let's give a color of or I will say color of say gray. So let's give the color of gray. So border I have given 1 pixel, solid and gray. So let's save this, and then let's say this, if this style which I have given is applicable to our paragraph or not. So just simply refresh it, and you will see that the paragraph has a margin of 1 pixel, solid gray color. The width has become 90%, and if you see that the content is justified, that is, both the side will have a justified margin padding. Now I will give up, I have just see padding. So here padding, instead of padding, it became padding top. I will give padding for all sides. So simply give the padding, and you will see a 5 pixel padding. You can increase the padding say to 20 pixel and reload the page, and you'll see a padding of 20 pixel from all the side is applicable. Now if you want to give the margin, that is, you want to bring the paragraph in the center of the page from both the sides. So you can also give margin. So here what we can give, here we can simply give the margin, and the margin would be from top it should be say 5 pixel and remaining should be auto. So margin can be given from top, right, bottom and left. So what we have done, I have given the top margin as 5 and left, right and bottom are automatically adjusted. So here when I save this and reload the page, you will see the paragraph is exactly in the center now. So here we have data, the AG School of Data Science, and then we have our paragraph. Now what we can do inside, just below this heading, we can have our links about contact and everything. So for that, what we can do, we can simply create one table tag. So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply use a table tag. There is another option we can use, but right now the easiest option would be to use a table tag. So what is a table tag? Table will consist of your rows and columns. So we in the table tag we have first row, that is tr. Okay, the first row is when we write tr, it is a table row, and then we have a table cell, that is table data. So here we have now table data. The first will be that now suppose that I am having here home, then second would be about, the third would be, third data will be contact, the fourth would be service, and so on. Now let me save this and reload the page. So when I save this and reload the page, you will see we have about home, about, contact and service, but it is not looking like your navigation. So what we will do, first of all, we will give the style to our table. So what style we can give? Style. So here we are giving the style to the table. So width should be say 90%. Again, then margin should be 0, from top it should be 0 pixel and remaining should be auto. And then let's save this. Okay, now we have proper spaces between about, home, about, contact and services. Now what we can do, we can align everything in the center. So we have text align center. Okay, so we have a text align center. So everything in the center now. So everything in the table, but we, one more thing I want is, I want every tr should have a, td should have a border. So here by default it has a border equal to 1. So if I say border is equal to 1, that is the attribute of your HTML page, and I reload the page, you will have the border as is equal to 1. When I say border is equal to 1, it will show a border, but it doesn't look good. So what I will do, I will remove that cell spacing. So here I will say cell spacing is equal to 0. So here when I say cell spacing should be 0, you will have 0 cell spacing. Okay, and border is equal to 0. If I give border is equal to 0, so basically we'll give border is equal to 1, cell spacing is equal to 0. So now here we have home, about, contact and services. Now what we can do, we can simply create this home, about, contact as a separate page. So home is your this current page, that is index.html is the current page. When we click about, we should have about.html. When we click contact, we should have contact.html. When we click service, we should have service.html. So what we are going to do, we are simply going to create links. So here this home, I will put inside a link, and to create the link, I will use a anchor tag. Now anchor tag is a h reference is equal to index.html, so same page. So now here we have an anchor tag, and inside this anchor tag, the name of anchor tag is home. Similarly, we have another anchor tag, okay, for about. So we'll have another anchor tag for about. Let's put everything in our anchor tag, and here it is now about.html. About.html. Similarly, we have here contact.html. So we have our contact.html. Similarly, we have our service.html. Service.html. Let's save this, and now we can create about.html. But before that, let's see how the links looks like. So when I refresh the page, refresh or reload the page, you will see about is the same index.html. Sorry, home is the same index.html page. But when I click about, so about is not created, and therefore we cannot see anything in the about page. So we have to create the about, contact, and service page. But before that, we have to give some more style property to our anchor link also. Now let's see another type of style property. Now here, this is your inline style sheet. You can give the style sheet, inline style sheet, but you can also give another style sheet, that is your embedded style sheet. So here we can make use of embedded style sheet, and for that, what we are going to do, we are going to create a separate style tag. So here we have a style tag, and inside this style tag, what we have, we can provide the style to our table, and then inside this table, inside this tr, td, and anchor tag, we can simply provide the style. So what we can do, we can simply make use of our name of the tag, that is your table tag. Inside the table, we have tr tag, and inside this tr tag, we have our table data tag. And to this, we are going to give a background color of, say, RGBA means red, green, red, green, and blue, and A is your. We can specify the opacity property, transparency property. So what we are going to do? We are going to simply give 0, 0, 0, and then 0.5. So let's see what background color is seen in your TD. So let's reload our page, and you will see we have our background as gray in color. Now the anchor tag is not looking good. So what we are going to do, in our table tag, we have our tr tag. Inside tr we have our td, and then inside that we have our anchor tag. So what we can give here, we can give color as white. So color will be white, and text decoration, that is, we don't want to see that underline, so we have text decoration, yeah, text transformation, yeah, text decoration as none. And then we have our font should be bolder, so font weight should be bold. Let's save this and then reload our page. So here you can see our home, about, contact, and service pages are now ready. Now it looks much prettier compared to our previous links. So now our style property is done. Now what we are going to do, we are going to simply create another page for about. This is our home page. Now we will have our about page. So let's do one thing. Let's move this header tag below this. So I will do one thing, simply cut this header tag and put below our table tag, so that it looks more meaningful. So we have our link above, and then we have our heading, and then we have our home page. Now let's create an about.html. So for that, what we are going to do, we are going to simply create a new file, file new. Let's save this file as our about.html. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, simply I'm going to copy everything from here, copy here, and put in our about. Now here, instead of heading, I'm simply going to change about ages, and then title also I'm going to give as about. Okay, and save this, and you will see that now when I click the about page will open, the title would change. So now when I click the about, you will see your about page and you will see about ages. Okay. So simply your about page is created. But as you see, I have only copied the head in this. I have only copied this about. Now what we can do, we can simply copy everything and paste this, save this, and then reload it. Okay. Save it and reload it. So here we have our about.ages. So here we have home and here we have about. So here we have two different types of pages. Similarly, you can create contact and you can create the pages. So for that, you can again, what we do, we'll simply save the same file about page. We can save it as let's save as contact.html, and title should be changed to contact. Okay, and here we can have our contact us, and content you can change the way you want, and also we can create service.html, and then we can change our service and then title as service. Just save this and then reload our page, and you can see when we click the service, you will see the service page. Okay, when we click the contact, we will see contact page, about page, and ages page. So we have our simple simple page ready. Okay, so we have link, we have header, and we have some content. Now content you can change. If the style property, if you want to give any style property, you can make use of your either inline style sheet, or you can make use of your embedded style sheet. So this was about HTML and some part of the CSS. Now one more important thing. Suppose that if I want to define the third type of the style sheet. For example, here I have my paragraph tag. Okay. Now here, whatever I had defined in the paragraph, I want to define not inline, but I want to define it in external style sheet. So here we have three type of style sheets. One was inline, one was your embedded, and one was your, and the third which we are going to study is your external CSS. So what is an external CSS? Let's try to understand that first. So whatever till now we have done only about the embedded and inline style sheet. Now I am going to explain you the third type of CSS, that is external CSS. For that I am going to create one link. Okay, the link for CSS, that is relation, would be style sheet. It will be of type text CSS, and let's create a new CSS file externally, and let's name it as style.css. You can give any name. So I have given style.css. I will save this. Now this style.css I have to create here. So I will create a new file, and let's save this file as style.css. Style.css. Okay. Now, as I have created a new style sheet, now this style sheet now is used by your HTML page in the form of your externals. So here we can see, here we can use this style sheet in every page. So here also you can use in home page, also you can use it in your contact page, also you can use it. So that external style sheet can be used in same external style sheet property can be used in all your pages. So about here also you can use. So what I have done, I have used that external CSS property everywhere. Now, how you can define the CSS property? So for now, what I'm going to do, I have paragraph tag here. So now to understand how your CSS work, what we are going to do, we are first going to index.html. Now in this style sheet, what I am going to do, I am going to define the style sheet for style for my paragraph tag. So what I am going to do here, to this paragraph, I am going to give class. Okay. So let's say I give the class as C1. I give the class name as C1. Okay. Now the property given to C1 here, I will remove from here. I will remove all the CSS property from here. Okay. And now the same CSS property I am going to define in my external CSS, that is style CSS. So for that, I'm going to use of that class name C1. Now that class name will have all the style properties. So I have just removed from there. Okay. And I have put in a external CSS as my inside my .c1. .c1 is a class, and .c1 is nothing but your class that I have given to my paragraph. So here my paragraph p tag is now has a class name as c1. So now similarly you can have for about. In about also, what we can do, we can give this paragraph a class name class c2. Okay, class name is your choice. You can give any class name, but you have to use that class name. Then we have our contact. In contact also, what we can do, we can give this class as c3. Okay, and also for service. In service also, I can give the class as c4. So I have given different class c4. Okay, now here you can see for paragraph, for this paragraph I have given class 1. So when I reload, this page, home page, the class is applicable. Okay, for that what we can do, we can simply change our CSS property. For example, I can change the color of the text color as say green. If I change the color as, or I can use RGBA, I can use red as 255, blue as 00, and opacity as 0.8 pixels. So save this and then reload the page. And you'll see the color has changed now. You can make it bolder also. Okay. So for that, what you can do, you have to simply say font weight is equal to bold. Okay. Save this and reload the page. So now whatever style sheet we are using, it is not inline, but is an external style sheet. And for that, you can simply right click this page and view the page source code. As you see the page source code, you will see this style CSS property, and the class given to this paragraph is C1, and it is defined in your CSS C1. But we have not defined anything for C2, C3, and C4. So when we click about, all the CSS disappears. When we click the contact, everything disappears. When we click services, everything disappears, because we have only given style to this paragraph, that is C1. So what we can do, we can give the style property to other classes also. So for that, what we can do, we can simply copy this, paste here, copy and paste here. And now here we have 4 different classes, C2, C3 and C4. And now we can simply change the color for everyone. So here, instead of this, I'm going to use this color. That is, it will be more towards the greener. Here I'm going to use more towards the blue color. And here I can use some mix-up color and save this and then reload the page. And you'll see now your about has a different color, a contact will have a different color, and service has a different color. So now you can see here my CSS property is now working. So here we have seen that we can make use of inline style sheet, external style sheet, or you can also make use of your embedded style sheet. So if you watch this video again and step by step you follow all the steps, you will be able to create your HTML page. So this was about your HTML and CSS, the basics of HTML and CSS. Now, how you can use the same HTML and CSS property in your PHP. So for that, what you have to do simply, you have to convert all the HTML page into PHP page and then use your PHP code. And for that, we are going to make use of, we are going to create a project in our project folder, that is your using your XAMPP. So you have already XAMPP installed. Your XAMPP server, that is your MySQL and Apache, should be on. So when this is running, you can simply create your PHP page. And for that, what we are going to do, so let's follow that steps now. So now I think your HTML and CSS, basics of your HTML and CSS is clear to you. Now, what we are going to do, we are going to create our PHP files. And for that, we are going to simply make use of our XAMPP server. So when you install your XAMPP, inside your C drive, a XAMPP folder is created. Inside this XAMPP folder, you have your htdocs folder. Okay. Now, whatever project you want to create on PHP, every project should be created in your htdocs file. Okay. So now inside this htdocs, I am going to create a new folder. Okay. So instead of creating a new folder, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a shortcut. What I'm going to do, I'm going to simply copy everything. That is, what I'm going to do here is, whatever we have created in this PHP, what I'm going to do, I'm going to simply copy everything inside this and keep inside my htdocs folder. So what I'm going to do, instead of recreating everything, I will simply copy this entire folder. Okay. And I'm going to simply paste inside my htdocs. I will simply paste in my htdocs. Now, the php underscore fsd is my project folder inside my htdocs now. Okay. And now here we have our index, about, everything as it is. Now it is an HTML page. It is not a PHP page. Now what we are going to do, we are going to open that folder file, open that folder in where that folder is there. We have kept in our C. Inside the C, we have our XAMPP, and inside this XAMPP, we have our htdocs, and inside this htdocs, we have our php underscore fsd project folder. We will simply open this and we will close our previous editor. Now here, now we are inside our htdocs folder. Now, since our Apache server is running, we can directly open our server, that is local server, and we can look our index.html can be now is now running on our Apache local server. And for that, what we are going to do, we are going to simply type localhost, because local is our local the local IP address, that is local host, means the server which is running is our local machine. So we call that server as localhost server, and inside that we have our PHP project folder name is PHP underscore FSD, and inside this we have our index.html, and now we'll see our same index.html is running on localhost machine. In previous case, it was running on our simple local machine, but not on the local server. Now, but here we have our same file, but is now running on our local server, that is Apache server. So here you can see our home page, again about page, contact page, and service page. Everything is on our server. So now we can also run our PHP file also here. So what we can do here, instead of using index.html, we can simply, what we are going to do, we are going to create new file, all 4 new files, and name them as, instead of index.html, we can name them as index.php file. So what I want to explain here is, a PHP file can also contain your HTML code. So now let's try to understand how it will work. So what we are going to do, I'm going to create a new file, and let's save this file as index.php. So instead of index.html, I am saving it as index.php. So we have index.html page also here, and we have our index.php page also. So I am going to delete this index.html page, and index.php file will remain. So all the code inside my index.html, I am going to simply remove from here and keep in my index.php file. Okay. And now I will save this. So now I have my index.php page. Similarly, I will have my about.php page. So I will simply save this file, save as, and I will save this as my about.php, and it should be a PHP file. Remember, you can also save it as a PHP file. So it will be a about.php file, .php. Okay. So now we have about.php, and now we can remove this index.html. Similarly, we have our context.html. So what we can do, we can save this file, save as contact.php. Okay. And then remove this contact.html file. Similarly, we have our service.html. I will save this file, services.php. Okay. I have my services.php. I will remove the service.html file. Now, what we have here is only our PHP file. So you can see here in our project folder, we have only PHP files. Now, instead of that index.html, we have our PHP files. And what simple changes that you have to do here is that in this index.html, instead of that, we have our PHP file now. So everything I have converted to PHP now. And what is the advantage of this? We will be learning in our next session when we are going to do our PHP. For right now, I'm going to simply change everything, and then all HTML page is now converted to your PHP pages. So what I'm going to do, simply make everything as PHP page and save it. And then I'm going to reload. And now I have our about.php, contact.php, service.php, and again home.php. So one thing you have learned here is that a PHP page can also contain your HTML tag. Okay, so when we use HTML tag directly, it will be rendered on the browser as your normal HTML tag. But we can also have our PHP tag inside our index.php. For example, see here, if you want to write any PHP code inside this, you can simply make use of your PHP script, and every PHP script will start with some PHP scriptlet. So here on your heading part, what we can have here, PHP like this, or inside your body you can have a PHP tag. So I can use my PHP script inside my body also. For example, here before your paragraph tag, I can have my PHP. So to write PHP code, we have to make use of this PHP scriptlet. So open PHP and closing PHP. Now this will have our PHP syntax. So here I can simply echo. I want to print something, so I will make use of your echo. So don't worry about the PHP syntax, because in our next session we are going to learn about our PHP syntax. Okay, and then how to use your bootstrap in our PHP, that we are going to study. So let's print some message here. So here I am going to simply print h2, and I am going to print here message as hello from age. Okay, so now here echo is simply going to print a message hello from ages, but it is also going to print this header tag on the browser. For browser, h2 is a tag, so everything will be displayed in the form of h2 tag. So let's try to understand how it will work. So let's reload the page, and you'll see hello from ages, but this message is coming from PHP. And if you see the view page source, you will see only H2 tag, but no PHP syntax, because PHP syntax is not visible on your page source. Only HTML tag is visible on your page. So here we have your echo. And similarly, we can have another PHP scripts inside this another PHP code inside your PHP, and that basics of PHP we are going to study in our next session. So till now, what we have studied: how to create a normal HTML page, how to link different HTML page using anchor tag, what is inline CSS, what is embedded CSS, and what is external CSS, and all the basics of how to create a very simple static website, and that is without JavaScript. So that's all about our this particular session. In the next session, we'll be focusing on our PHP. That is, what is PHP, how we are PHP code basics, syntax of PHP, some basic functions and functionalities of PHP, and also with the help of PHP, we can create our we can use a bootstrap template inside our, and how we can use that bootstrap template to create more beautiful website without worrying about too much about your CSS property. So that's all about today's session. Thank you very much. Okay. One more important thing, that after completion of all this session, that is when we complete all 5 sessions of development, we will be sharing you some link. In fact, even in below this video also, you will get some link wherein you have to register, because if you wish to give any assessment test based on today's session, whatever knowledge you have gained from this particular session, we will have a small assessment test for you, wherein if you score, if you can give, you can simply log in, you will get that link from our concerned person. That is, the link will be provided to on your email or WhatsApp. And following that link, you can simply give your exams after completion of your sessions. And based on that, we will try to you can assess yourself, and also we'll provide you some certificate of participation. So that's all I wanted to inform you. So please please you can follow this video and keep updating yourself, and please check the links. Thank you very much.